Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of our brand new Financial Basics. I'm your host, and today we're diving into a big topic, one that's been changing a lot faster than most of us ever imagined, and that is student loans. In this episode, I'll walk you through the basic loan types, the current state of loan forgiveness programs, and most importantly, how you can adapt your financial planning, even when everything feels so uncertain. Now listen, instead of giving you that old out-of-touch boomer financial advice, this series is all about the real building blocks of money, the things that actually matter in our lives here in the 2020s. Whether you're still in college, just starting your very first full-time job, or simply getting your money together for the first time, the most important thing is to make sure you have the right tools for where you are right now. And before we dive deeper, let me share something that can genuinely make this journey easier for you. When you're just starting out, it's not just about earning money, it's about managing it the right way. So before we dive into the current state of affairs, let's quickly cover the two main types of student loans: public versus private. Federal or public student loans include direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans, plus loans and consolidations. They usually come with fixed interest rates, access to income-driven repayment plans, and even some forgivable elements, not to mention options for deferment. Now, let's talk about private loans. These often come from banks or credit unions, and they can carry fixed or variable rates. But here's the catch: they usually mean higher interest, stricter terms, and fewer protections. And most importantly, they are not eligible for federal forgiveness or income-driven repayment plans. Private loans versus federal loans. Now, you probably already know what type of student loans you have. And if you don't, honestly, I'm not sure why you're watching this video. But hey, if you're still in high school and watching this video to prepare, more power to you. But it's really important to know exactly what types of loans you have and how much you owe. Remember this, federal student loans typically come with more flexibility and better terms. That's why, in many cases, it makes sense to pay off private loans first. But for the rest of this video, we're going to focus solely on federal student loans. So now, here's the real question. How is the student loan landscape different now than it was even just a year ago? First up is the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, or PSLF. The PSLF program allows workers in qualifying public service jobs to get forgiveness after 120 qualifying payments under a specified repayment plan. However, would exclude employees working for employers deemed to engage in unlawful conduct. This could mean potentially disqualifying some nurses, teachers, or social workers, and it seems like the terms of these rules are being intentionally kept. Critics argue that this is politically motivated and could have uneven consequences. According to the Associated Press, the new proposal would exclude employees of any organization tied to an activity deemed illegal. Stress on illegal. The Education Department predicts that fewer than 10 organizations would be deemed ineligible per year. It also doesn't expect a significant reduction in the percentage of borrowers who would be granted forgiveness under the program, according to the proposal. Yet, the agency acknowledges that not all of industries would be affected evenly. Schools, universities, healthcare providers, social workers, and legal services organizations are among those most likely to have their eligibility jeopardized. The department wrote this clearly. So yeah, I'm not really going to dive into the scarier implications of this, even beyond student loans. But I do want to focus on the reality here. Loan forgiveness programs like the PSLF are not the guarantee that they once were. Stress, not the guarantee. And often, those kinds of programs are the reason people join the non-profit sector or take government jobs. So that's really something to consider when you're looking at your first job out of college, or whether or not it's worth sticking it out with a new job. Is this loan forgiveness program actually still going to be available to you? You'll have to do your own research to figure out the best path for you. We've had something called the SAVE plan for the last few years, but that is currently under attack by the current administration. As recently as a few years ago, about 8 million people enrolled in the SAVE plan, a 2023 income-driven repayment plan for student debt. Many of those loans have now been in forbearance since last year, but now many borrowers' situations have become even worse, thanks to the move to resume charging loan interest for borrowers under the SAVE plan. As of August 1st, the Department of Education has effectively killed the SAVE plan. They are now recommending people switch to another repayment plan for their federal student loans. Borrowers can still choose to forego payments, but they will see interest accruing on their loans, and they won't make any progress towards student loan forgiveness. And on top of all that, there's this huge application backlog for forgiveness programs, still massive and completely unresolved. So even if you do apply, it could be a very long time before your application is even addressed. There are policy shifts, political tug of war, and the rollback of paused programs that have made this landscape, frankly, more unstable than ever. And honestly, I wish I had the better news. So, now that we have that cheeriness out of the way, it's time to talk about how to take a proactive step in planning for this uncertain future of the student loan landscape. First off, take a deep breath. Not paying off your student loans can have really huge negative consequences, but we don't have debtor's prison anymore, and there are still options for being stuck in really tough spots. Here are some of our tips for navigating the ever-changing world of federal student loans and planning as much as you can. Number 1, use the tools that are available to you. The Department of Education has a loan simulator. Show it here on screen. Instructional tone that helps you compare income-driven repayment plans. Estimate your payments and switch plans based on your situation. Number 2, stay flexible with repayment programs. So, if you are on the SAVE plan and that gets disrupted, you can consider moving to one of the available income-driven repayment plans to continue your progress toward the loan forgiveness. The Income-Based Repayment Plan, or IBR, is an income-driven repayment plan with monthly payments that are generally equal to 15% of your discretionary income, or 10% if you are a new borrower on or after July 1st, 2014, divided by 12. Another option is the Income Contingent Repayment Plan, or ICR. This plan sets your monthly payments as the lesser of two things. 1. What you would pay on a repayment plan with a fixed monthly payment over 12 years, adjusted to your income, or 2, 20% of your discretionary income, divided by 12. And then we have the PAYE plan, short for a pay as you earn. This is also an income-driven repayment plan. Under pay, your monthly payments are generally equal to 10% of your discretionary income, divided by 12. Emphasize 10%. But, and this is important, your payment will never exceed the 10-year standard repayment amount. One important note here, you must apply for and be enrolled in the pay plan before July 1st, 2027. Stress on the date. After that, no new enrollments will be accepted. So, if PAYE is the right fit for you, don't wait too long. Tip number 3, slight upbeat shift. Expect something unexpected. Be ready to pivot. Be ready to switch or even accelerate your payments depending on how policies change. Because the truth is, legislation like the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which we covered in detail in our August video essay, could reshape the system entirely, from capping borrowing to restructuring income-driven repayment. Big changes may be closer than you think. And tip number 4, monitor your public service loan forgiveness eligibility very closely. Stress on very closely. Even with changing policies, growing your qualifying payments could still matter. You never know what the future holds, and rules can shift anytime. Use tools like the PSLF help tool or even your loan servicer dashboard to keep track of your progress. And of course, there will always be private student loan options out there as well. But remember, those come with stricter terms and fewer protections. A lot of people choose to refinance their loans, either to pay off debt more quickly or to lessen their monthly payment burden. But remember, refinancing removes protections from federal loans. And even though those protections are in flux, as we've seen, they do technically still exist. And if you want a deeper dive on how to prioritize your debt repayments and come up with a plan that really works for you. And lastly, some companies actually offer student loan repayment assistance as an employee benefit. So, if you're out there applying for jobs, make sure you check whether that's an option for you. It can really make a difference. And if you're in the position where you have the luxury of choosing between multiple offers, this is definitely something worth considering. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the new financial basics. And that wraps up today's video. I'll see you here again on the channel very soon. Take care and goodbye.